Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday night again, and we are back for another chat. No fireside chat tonight. I'm actually in my new place, so it's good to be here. Good to be with all of you. And we just went through that 1111 portal passageway. And so, for some of you, it may be feeling a little challenging. So, that's what we wanted to talk about this evening. And who do we have here tonight? We've got already a nice little group of you. We've got California. Of course, we have California. Florida, Arizona, Hawaii, North Carolina, LA, Austin. Oh, thank you. I just washed it. My said my hair is beautiful. On the new place, yes, it is. It feels good to be in a nicer place, a little closer to my horse, and so thus here I am, still in Southern California. It's only about 10 minutes from where I was before. Welcome, Montana and Colorado Springs and Virginia. Great, it's good to have all of you here. Well, a lot going on, a lot of energies. A lot of people have been calling with major chaos and, um, the wheels coming off kind of things. And so, this portal has been an energetic way for the universe to allow us the opportunity to let go of all those things we don't want to bring through that doorway that we didn't want to bring. And so all kinds of stuff was surfacing. And if you didn't know how to be grounded or stay grounded through all of it, that could have been really challenging. Kind of felt like a big squeeze, like going down the birth canal, down this narrow passageway, and anything that couldn't fit through was just breaking away. And so that could have been kind of challenging for some of you. Um, Tonight, that was one thing that I wanted to talk about. And so, with this challenge of this 1111 portal, some people would be challenged if they are more in those upper realms where they tend to spend a lot of time out in the ethers and with the angels and with all those otherworldly kind of outer energies. But if they're not in their body, they might not be aware of what's going on when they're not at home, right? So that can be a big challenge. And I believe that our part of our evolutionary process is to learn how to bring all of those outer, beautiful, lovely light energies, angelic energies, etc., but bring that into the body so that it's really grounded, really be a grounded force of light. There's a lot of you earth angels that are here. I remember when we used to check. Oh, you could even do that if you wanted to. Check how activated our etheric wings were. And that was kind of fun because it kind of connected us to this concept that, they're the things like unicorns and dragons and mermaids and all. Those are not myths. Those things actually did exist at one time. And so now those are like, well, do angels exist? I believe they do. And so we can't see them like many of these other things. So these etheric, invisible energies can still be available to us. So same with our wings, our etheric wings. Good to have you here, Amy. And who else? Okay, good. I think Instagram, it didn't work out tonight. I apologize for Instagram. They had this new kind of setup and it clicked off and then poof, it was gone. Great to have you here, Sydney. And so great. I love having questions tonight. I didn't really have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things that were going through my mind of things that we could and should talk about. The afterglow of this 1111 was one. So, how do you navigate through this? Well, number one, how you navigate anything that's a challenging is you get grounded. I've got that free 20-minute meditation on my website right there, kimberlysherry.com. And if you have never downloaded it, even the music in the background music in and of itself is an activation. So it's a very powerful process, and it'll walk you through this whole process of running your energy so that you can get grounded. Of course, at the beginning of that meditation emphasizes the fact that the most important part of that meditation is making sure you are ultra grounded. So I've shared this before. I'm going to share it again. I shared it with a gentleman this evening that on how we can check our internal yes and no. So I think it bears repeating because it's simple, but it's effective. And once you know how to get your internal yes or no, you have mastered tons of things. So super important to be able to get that internal yes or no. I'm going to show you again how to do that. And so you muscle testing is the way that I'm going to show you how to get an internal yes or no. So you first with your non-dominant hand, you're going to connect your baby finger and thumb. So if you can remember that your baby finger is on one circuit and then these other three fingers are on a different circuit. So you want to connect the two different circuits. So you're going to connect your thumb and your baby finger. Do it like that. And then on the other hand, you do like duckbill, like an L, and then do these two fingers, thumb and index finger. So you're going to use the same amount of pressure opening as you are closing. So that should be the same amount of pressure. You're going to put your dominant hand into this little part here. And then you're going to ask a test question because you need to feel what your no feels like and what your yes feels like. So you ask a test question first, such as, am I a dog? It should say no, right? So you're going to open the fingers like that. You're not trying to open them. You're just seeing the strength of the muscle. But since the answer should be no, it should open because, of course, you're not a dog, right? So you can test that. Am I a dog? The answer is no. And then you would say, whatever your name is, I'll be asking, is my name Kimberly? And it's nice and tight because the answer is yes. Now, that's the simplest way to get an internal yes or no. And so you're not pulling out like this. You're opening, you're opening with the same amount of pressure as you're closing. So it goes in here. Am I a dog? No. Is my name Kimberly? Yes, nice and tight. If you can practice that, getting that internal yes or no, then you will be heap loads ahead of so many people because getting an internal yes or no is pivotal in all kinds of questions. And so, especially grounding. So, this is the whole point of why I was showing this gentleman this is that we need to check if you're grounded, right? So, he wasn't grounded. We did this. And then he got him grounded. He could feel the difference. And so that's a massive amount of information that is helpful because the most important thing is to be grounded. And it sounds so simple, but so many people are walking around ungrounded. And when you're not grounded, that's like a house without plumbing. There's nowhere for all the garbage to go. And so it just circulates round and round and round, making your house all smelly. And then you don't want to be at home. And then you can't tell what's going on because nobody's home. Anyway, it's a hot mess. So the internal yes or no, super simple and super effective. So I'm curious if you guys are finding that's an easy thing to do, or I know there's all kinds of ways we can get an internal yes or no. We can use body pendulum. We can do all kinds of things. Um, you feel like you're pulling it. Yeah. So no pulling. It's opening like that. Yeah, like this. Okay, and you're using the same amount of pressure. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? How do you feel, Kimberly, during this portal? Very grateful. I felt very grounded and clear. So, how am I feeling? I have mixed feelings. Sometimes I'm feeling great, and other times people are projecting all their BS onto me, and that's no fun. So, yeah, sometimes even I feel challenged. Not that I'm not grounded, but sometimes these AI chords are relentless. So we had a nice little break there, little interim where we commanded that shit out of our space, and it's nice and clear. They're back. They're back now with 20 chords at a time. If you're feeling ungrounded, that's likely the reason. 20 of these AI chords right in your root chakra. And so you can just pull those out as you recall or should remember, never cut cords. It leaves that residual energy behind. So that is super important. Um, yes. So sometimes I also feel challenged by these these guys because they not giving up anytime soon. You have felt angels float over you. How cool. I love that. Don't you love it when the angels float over you? Okay, Tiki, the energy is strong and many changes happening for people. Yes, it is very, very powerful because um, all of these energies that don't want to come with you through the portal have been surfacing. And so for a lot of people, that's been hard. It's been the hardest for people who haven't been doing their work or who are just kind of oblivious to everything. And so, spirit's trying to get their attention. Maybe that will happen and maybe not. Some people are not meant to wake up. I think maybe we should acknowledge that and realize that if you're on a mission to wake the world up or to you might find yourself pretty disappointed because there's a lot of people who are just not meant to wake. They're not meant to be on this ascension path. So we have to honor people's choices and decisions. um Shelley, can you confirm, is the non-dominant hand the one that has the pinky? Yes, and thumb connected and goes inside. The duckbill goes inside of that one. Yes. So this with the baby finger is the non-dominant hand. Yes. Yes, am I a dog is a great statement for a no. It better be no, right? Although some people are pretty dog-like. Marianne, I'm not having a success. I have a neuropathy in my hands, and I think that affects it. That could be an issue. And so you could try other methods of getting an internal yes or no. My favorite muscle testing is with my arm out in front of me. I'm going to do sideways like that. It's hard to tell in the vertical there, but and I press just past my elbow. So thumb down, and then just pressing right there. You can ask the same test question. Some people will use a body pendulum. What does that mean? You ask a question, and so am I a dog? It should go backwards because that's a no, and going forwards is a yes. So if you just stand there and let your body do what it's going to do, it will do one or the other, likely. Unless you're fighting with yourself, you might find yourself sort of fighting like you think you're losing your balance or something, but no, your body's actually trying to respond. Sometimes those cords come back daily because these dark energies are very, very diligent lately, very persistent on what they're trying to do, and they want to keep people off balance. They want to keep people in discord and not connected to themselves or each other. They want us to not be solution oriented. So that's why they disrupt relationships, especially. And yep, that arm testing is clearly, yes, that's definitely a good one. All right. Well, what else would you like to talk about? I've got some things on my mind. How can you get rid of the curses and cords permanently? We wish there was such a thing, right? Some people um, wish that they could eliminate how people cord to them. So that's been a big one. But I have to tell you, there's actually something very valuable about knowing how someone is courting to you. That's valuable information. So if somebody never courted to you, you wouldn't know how they're secretly, invisibly, silently trying to manipulate you. So this is actually a good topic to talk about. So in my book, there's a whole chapter related to these cords and when they're plugged into a certain area. What does that mean? And so, say for instance, you have someone that constantly cords to your heart chakra. Well, they're trying to make you feel bad about something. They're trying to make you feel guilty to try and get you to do something or to stop doing something. And so, knowing that is valuable information. If someone is corded to your solar plexus, they're trying to again manipulate what you do. Solar plexus is your power chakra. And so someone courting there is trying to manipulate you to either stop what you're doing or to make you do something. And so if we don't know that this is happening, if like say if that ability to never cord, people never corded again, that would be great. But uh, the fact that we know that they are and how and when and where, that's valuable information. So there is not a way to permanently that I know of. I've been doing this for a long time and I have not found the magic uh, tool um, to create, like to stop permanently. There have been longer periods of time. The more you strengthen your aura and your energy field, less infiltration. But when you're very sensitive, you also can know right away when something is infiltrated in your field, and you can take care of it. So yeah, that would be nice if, like, they just never did. And uh, when they're likely no longer influencing the planet, that will be when, right? I hope it won't be that long, but anyway. Um, so yeah, that's definitely going on. Is anybody new here that would like me to take a peek, do a scan, and maybe you have a specific question about what's going on with you? Would be great. So here's a new thing I wanted to mention was this colostrum journey. Colostrum. A lot of people have been asking, okay, well, what is the colostrum? They've seen some of my posts, and there's not been a long explanation that went along with it. So people, don't know what's the colostrum. What are you talking about? So there's very little information about the colostrum. It is a very small part of our brain that's responsible for our consciousness and awareness. And so there's a reason why there is not much information about it. They don't want us to be conscious, aware, awake. And there's also a lot of misinformation about this colostrum as well. Claustrum, not to be confused with colostrum, which is in a mother's breast milk. Claustrum, Claustrum, claustrum. Some say claustrum is it's a tiny or thin sheet of neurons, and these neurons. Some people think that claustrum secretes a fluid, like call it the Christ oil, and that it takes this journey down the spine and back up again. Well, the only thing that's true about that, all those stories about the journey that it takes, and they say Santa Claus, the whole Santa Claus story, going down the chimney and back up again, bringing gifts, that all of that is there's a lot of untrue things about all that. The only thing that's true is that Claustrum does take a journey down your spine and back up again. Because there is so much misinformation, I wanted to find out what was true. So I took a personal journey exploration of tracking my claustrum every day for, well, it was since August 13th. So it was like 3 months. And um, yeah, so it was for 3 months. And here's what I found. So, one, some people thought that it takes a journey once a month, and that it was supposed to start when your moon entered your sun sign. So that is not true. The journey, the first time that I tracked it, from the time it started, when the claustrum was full and it started to come down the spine and back up again, that whole journey took about 18, 19 days. And then it rested back up here in the brain for about 5 or 6 days for it to get enough juice up again before it took its next journey. Each time that I tracked this whole journey, it got shorter and shorter and shorter, uh, until it was there. I think there were 3 cycles of 9, then it went to 7 days. Then it eventually went down to a 2-day cycle, and it only rested here for like 12 hours. We are currently doing a group intensive, a 12-day intensive with a group of people who we're tracking our physiology. Every day we're raising the cellular light quotient of our body systems and body organs, and the energetic functioning up to 100%. So we're going through every body system, body organ over 12 days. And so this is the first time that I've noticed that it's getting longer. And previous, when you guys were asking, well, where's my claustrum at? And how is mine doing? We discovered that those of you who were on the same system that I'm on, using the infinity system, keeping your energy up, that we were tracking the same, that your claustrum was at the same place my claustrum was. So now in this group, there's more than 20 of us who are keeping our cellular light quotient high, checking everything. The cycle is now it's a little bit longer. So we are already into day 3, and I think and my mentor told me that this whole thing is probably on a 3-month cycle. So, like the waves, they come in sets where they're like a set of 7, and then you get that big wave again, and then they're smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you get that big wave again. So those sets, there's like a set of 7, I think it's 7 waves. At any rate, my mentor thought that this claustrum cycle is on a 3-month cycle. So it's going to be interesting to see that, and I believe that, at least this is what I'm sensing, is that because we're doing it as a whole group, that it's the journey is a little slowed down. So we'll see how long it takes this time. I'm curious where it is right now myself. So when we first started this on Monday, it was at 100%. And then it took its journey, started taking its journey on Monday. So it was coming down. Let's see where it is right now. Cervical, thoracic. It's in the lumbar. L3. And L3, if I look at my chart real quick here, I can tell you exactly what L3 is. If you hang on just one second. L3 glasses, is the genitals, uterus, bladder, and knees. So there you go. That's where our claustrum is right now. And so the other important part about this whole claustrum journey is that when it takes its full cycle, so this is, we're already in our third day. So it's likely to be a 7-day journey, maybe. We'll see. Is that when it comes back up to the brain, this frequency, and it gets back up to 100%, that's when we can reprogram it for how we want to this claustrum to interact with our nervous system. Because it's not that it secretes a fluid, it's more that it emits a frequency that as it starts to travel down the spine, it imbues the spinal fluid. It imbues the spinal fluid with codes, information, light frequencies, so that when that frequency is traveling through your body, it's going to be informing your system on how it can operate. So the more that we can do that consciously, the better off we're going to be. So already 3 months, and I have to tell you that I have noticed in myself my knowing and consciousness awareness feels even more fine-tuned and more precise, and I can just really nail things now. Not that I couldn't before, but it's like dialed up. So I'm curious if you guys have questions about this whole claustrum thing, and we'll see what questions you've been posting while I'm blabbing on here. um, let's see. How can we get rid of these permanently? I did answer that. Okay, here's Tarot74 would love a scan. Okay, so you are new. So number one, and always the most important thing to check, is whether or not you're grounded, and you're not. You have no grounding. And let's see. The reason is what I talked about earlier. If you were on those 20 AI cores right at your root chakra, you also only have 5 creative rings, which it's a small amount. Knowing, especially knowing that you can have up to 100 before it breaks through to infinity. So these rings are going to help you create your reality. The fact that there's only 5 means that there's a compressing interference at the top of these rings, or when I say the top, your 5th ring is your top ring. So there's that influence there. Another thing that I like to check is how open and whether or not your heart is grounded. So heart not grounded and only 15% open. So you're in a place where feeling like you need to protect your heart. So it's kind of shut down a little bit. Also have a hard time receiving. Left hand is blocked. And so all of those things that I just talked about could be helped through listening to that free meditation. It walks you through the whole process of running energy through your invisible energy anatomy. So yeah, let's see. You could let me know if it feels accurate, or if there's anything else you want to know about that. Thanks for asking. And so just know, if you ask, I'm going to say what's going on. I'll be discreet about it if I notice something that, but just know that you're giving permission for me to see what I say. Okay, to say what I see. There we go. After the oversoul connection, what has come next? Is there another layer to see? Not that I know. The next thing that was revealed, Sydney, after the oversoul connection, connecting that oversoul, is this whole thing with the claustrum, which has kept me busy for the last 3 months. So that's the next thing. Marianne, it's not completely new, but love a scan. I finally got your book. Okay, great. Yes, that is super helpful, especially, sometimes I refer to things here and people don't have a clue what I'm talking about. So it's good to know the system, the infinity system, so that you can know what I'm talking about and how the whole system works. Okay, so Marianne, you are grounded. Great job, Marianne. You also only have 5 rings. Your heart is 100% open, which is great, but it's not grounded. So that you do have an influence at your root chakra that's preventing your heart from getting grounded. There's about 5 of those AI cords there. And um, your oversoul is stuck above your rings, like around the 100th ring. Your oversoul is stuck up there, and it's being interfered with by 20 of those AI cords up there. So yes, that's where you're at. So thanks for asking. Is it similar to fascia? Are you referring fascia? No. So far, everything I've talked about tonight is not similar to fascia. If you're talking about the claustrum, no, the fascia surrounds all of your muscles and keeps things sort of in place and separated. So that's a completely different thing. The claustrum is a part of your brain that emits a frequency that informs the spinal fluid on how it should operate. Josie, good. New and would love your insight. Okay, let's see what we got for Josie. You are grounded. That's great. You've got 3 creative rings, so you've got that influence at your rings. There's about 5 of those AI cords that are trying to keep you from expanding your ability to really create um, what you desire. Hmm. Heart open 15% and oversoul also stuck above the rings, about the 100th ring. Yeah, so when I'm giving you this kind of a scan, these are really basic things, but super important. These are like foundational pieces that these are need to be lined up first or cleared up before exploring other things. Just saying. Um, Tiki, is your heart open? It's open 15%, Tiki, and it's not grounded. Yeah. Monica, lately in the evening, I've noticed my ears frequently go deaf in and out for a few seconds and it goes away, but it's every night now. What is this? I'd love a scan. Yes, this is these AI energies interfering with our field. Sometimes they'll put in some cords, which is what you have. So um, it's not in both ears. It looks like would be maybe your left ear, or sometimes I get backwards here. It's in one of your ears. So whichever ear seems to be more affected, know that there's about 5 of those AI cords plugged into your ear, and that's what they're trying to influence what you hear, the messages that they want you to hear, and all of their nonsense. So thank you for asking, Monica. Um, okay. So, Tarot 74. What did you just ask here? So hmm. Yeah, so we're just keeps being in the, if you could say your first name, then I would know. Is this Tara? Yeah, we just keep going at it every day. You're in the right place to get rid of spells and curses and cords and all of those things. Yes, ask a question, Sydney. You always have great advanced questions, so I love your questions. Um, how to improve the grounding and the root? It's just a matter of practicing. Yeah. So if you're doing the daily 20-minute meditation, um, in the 12-day program, we actually go through it pretty quickly. I'm basically just making sure that everything's kind of running. But it would be a good idea if other times, maybe during the day, that you listen to that 20-minute meditation or at least the 8-minute meditation to just focus on the actual process so that you know that everything's running and flowing. Yeah, and getting that internal yes or no, ask questions, am I grounded? Yes or no? Um, and if it's no, you could ask, is this AI, ancient interference? Is this AI? Yes or no? Are these chords? Yes or no? So ask yes or no questions, and um, you will be able to serve yourself very well that way. Let's see what else. Hmm, hmm, yeah, understood. Good. In love with me. Okay, good. Could you please check my root chakra since it's always congested? Been working on it a little bit. All right. Thank you for putting your name because I don't, I can read the energy without your name, but it's nice to know who it is connected to your handle. And I always mess up your name, whether it's Xylia or Zilia or something else. At any rate, welcome back. Your root chakra. You're grounded. You're grounded. So great job. Good earth. No worry circle. Heart not grounded. Only 15% open. And only 2 rings. There's about 20 of those AI cords above your crown. Cilia. Cilia. And yeah, so that's where you are. This must be a good question, Sydney, because you must still be typing. Okay, good. We've got a few minutes left, so yeah, I'd love to hear what else you got going on. Here's one thing that you might uh, be considering. People can consider. This is a future kind of a future navigation into the future. Um, every month I do the luminary activation, and so I'm always listening to how spirit wants me to direct and guide people through these activations. And so one of the things that happens at the beginning of the year is a lot of people think, new year, new start, let me put my foot on the gas, and like, there's New Year's resolutions and there's all those kinds of things. However, if we're working in harmony with the cycles, you'll know that cyclically, we're still in January 1, we're still in that inward energy of winter. So, winter is the time, you're very welcome for your scans. Winter is the time to really go inward. It's really the time to repair our nets. Like, this is when the fishermen repair their nets when there's big storms out and so forth, and they can't really go fishing. That this is the time when we uh, take care of things that need to be taken care of, that we need to maybe clean up the back end of our office, uh, online, or maybe there's some other program we want to build, or there's other things that need to be done to like infrastructurally for our business. And that's the time to do it is in the winter time when we're kind of going inward, we're repairing things and building our structure and scaffolding, etc. Because it's not the time like many people do January 1, where they say, "Yay, new year, let's put our foot in the gas and let's get going." You're kind of doing a counterproductive energy when you're trying to put your foot on the gas when energetically winter is saying, "No, we're still in the inward thing. We're still hibernating. The bears are still hibernating." And it's not Groundhog Day for us to figure out if spring is here yet. So, really, it's in the springtime that you want to launch new things and start coming out with big projects. And, anything you want to launch really should be done in the spring. So, yeah, use the winter time to go inward with your business, with yourself, with things that you want to take care of, kind of take care of business on the back end. And that will be, that's a better way to operate your business. Sydney, I don't know what happened to you. Okay. Um, Carmen, uh, since the claustrum is by L3 related to the uterus, is it a good time to ask for enhanced creativity? Absolutely. In fact, it says, I really want to get back into playing music after feeling blocked for so many years. Yes, this is a great question, Carmen. And this is a really good example of how we can work with our claustrum. So here it is at in our reproductive organs in this lower belly, affecting that part of our body and physiology, which also affects our entire creative energy and creative center. The uterus is for procreation, right? And so that's the energetically, that's all what's happening right down there. So when the colostrum is in where it is right now, then this is the perfect time to start thinking. In fact, maybe this is why you even brought this up, is because your colostrum is kind of going, "Hello, Carmen, remember that thing you used to do that was really creative and fun? Like let let's get inspired to do that again." And so it's kind of like knocking at your door and giving you some clues or cues to get inspired again. And so you might, and so I say this is the claustrum in your ear, kind of, uh, helping you to do the things. Whether we're focusing on our physiology, but it certainly could affect any aspect of our life. And this is a great way. So you could always ask yourself, what would be the next best thing that I could do to inspire me? Maybe, if you get sheet music, maybe get a new piece of sheet music that would inspire you to sit down and play a new piece. Or, I don't know, that was just one that came to mind. My mother played piano, and my daughter is a piano teacher. So, the way that she has gotten extremely creative, she's made some really amazing songs, but she's found this program online that you can plug your piece into it and then give it a prompt, and it can use your your words and your basic melody, but maybe you want to turn it into a country song or a um, I don't know, electronic song or a soulful song, or did I say country music? Anyway, a different genre. And so she's been having a lot of fun, and it's really been re-inspiring her to she's already into music, but like a whole new level of being interested in what she's creating. So yeah, listen to what your claustrum is informing you and how you can um, carry on. So great question, Carmen. Thanks for asking. We got a few more minutes. What else you guys got? Hmm. Let's see what else. No more questions. We can always end early too. Let's see if there's something else that I want to tell you guys about. Mhm. Nothing is coming to mind. It's starting to maybe I'm getting into that winter energy and going inward. I did take a little nap tonight. So yeah, that doing these 12-day programs, sometimes you release more and your body is doing more than you realize. And so it's good to take naps if your body says, no, time to take a little extra rest. So it's not a bad thing to listen. All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap things up a little earlier tonight. And I appreciate you all being here. And if you guys ever have any suggestions on things that you want me to talk about, like a specific topic, tonight I did elaborate on the claustrum because that was a question that did come up online. But if you have a question, you could always submit it to support@kimberlysherry.com or on any of the social platforms, and hopefully we'll see it there, and we could have some other topics to talk about here. All right, much blessings, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. So happy portal transformation, integrating. And if you're one of those ones who've been struggling with getting grounded and not enough rings to really create what you desire, get onto my website, listed right there, kimberlysherry.com, and download the free meditation and start getting grounded. All right, blessings, everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week. All right, ciao.